Hello and welcome to the United Stand. This is Friday evening. You're probably not watching it on a Friday evening. Well, some of you will be. How you all doing? Let's lots to talk about. Obviously, we'll have to mention the Griezmann stuff and Alexandre Lacazette, Lukaku, Varane, Lindelof, and lots of others that we need to talk about. I'm going to be a bit honest with you. I'm always honest with you. I'm not going to be a bit honest with you. Feeling a little bit dejected. I know it's only early in the transfer window, but I don't sort of buy into that really because our transfer plans have been absolutely mullered, and well, we'll talk about that in a minute. What I want to start off with is a theme, really, and it sort of goes along like this. We've also got a fantastic little game you can play tomorrow for the Champions League where you can take me on. You think you know more about football than me, most of you will. You can take me on. We'll be talking about that in a few minutes' time as well. But let me just start off with something here because it's going to lead into the next things. And I know people say, "Oh, you're just being negative." I'm not being negative. Look. On Sunday, we're doing the watch-along for the Michael Carrick testimonial. Really looking forward to it. And when you look at the Manchester United team, yes, most of them are retired now. But when you look at when I mention these names and you think of them in their prime and the fact that they played for Manchester United, Vidic and Ferdinand, arguably the best centre-back pairing in Europe, if not the world. Ryan Giggs, one of the best left-sided players in the world. Paul Scholes, one of the best midfielders in the world. Michael Carrick in his prime, the best holding midfielder in England. There's just so many. Wayne Rooney, one of the best players England's ever produced. Gary Neville, the best right-back we've had for about 20 years. Van der Sar, fantastic goalkeeper. The names go on and on and on and on. And my point is, that was 2008. It was 9 years ago. And it's not the best team we've ever had. Yes, they won the Champions League. It's not the best team we've ever had. Manchester United have always had very good players that people around Europe would envy, and were always challenging for trophies. Let me talk first, before I go to Griezmann, let me talk about... It's hard to say where to start. Let's start off with Griezmann, okay? Because I want to get into Lacazette and tell you why I don't want somebody who I believe is the French Jermaine Defoe. And that has caused a lot of uproar on Twitter today. I don't care, it's my opinion, but I'll explain it. And it basically comes down to what I've just said there. Alexandre Lacazette, at 26 years of age, with hardly any French caps, and yes, he's got a good goals to game ratio, but all of it's in the French league. I just don't get what the fascination is. Why has he become transfer target number one? And if you've been listening to the United Stand for the last few months when I've talked about transfers and Lacazette's been mentioned, I've said, French Jermaine Defoe, let Arsenal have him. I don't get the fascination. And I think, what I was going back to the start there, I think many Manchester United fans have lowered their expectations. Because we've not been good for 3 years, they've lowered their expectations that players who can't even get in the French side. He's had hardly any caps in 6 years. Giroud's had way more caps. And you can say, well, it's favouritism by the manager. But if he was so good and one of the best strikers in Europe, he would have been snapped up a long time ago. We've been linked to him for the last 3 years. Every year we've been doing the United Stand, he's been mentioned. He's like William Carvalho in Portugal. Why does nobody buy them if they're so good? If you like him, that's up to you, but I'll get into that more in a moment. And as Tylan says, Defoe is class. Look, Defoe's a good striker. I'm not saying Lacazette's rubbish. I think people are misinterpreting me there. I'm just saying Manchester United should be going for a higher level of striker than Alexandre Lacazette or Jermaine Defoe. They're good strikers, but they're not top four win your Champions League strikers. Not by any means. And I wonder why people want that sort of player to be our star signing of the summer. With Griezmann, let me just go back to Griezmann. With Griezmann, even though I'm really angry and gutted by it, I still will not be a hypocrite and say he's a bad footballer and he wouldn't have fitted us like a glove, because I stand by that. And I've heard people today saying, don't want him, mentality is clearly weak, he's quite weak, obviously body-wise he's quite slim, he'd get knocked off the ball. Look, I'm not going to lie, I felt he would be perfect for Manchester United. And if by some miracle this deal could be spun around, I would still welcome him. But what I want to say is, and I've seen some I'm going to be blunt as per usual, and I will echo some of your points, and I know some of you won't. Onyx just said let Arsenal sign Lacazette. What's annoyed me a little bit today, well, I say annoyed, I don't really get annoyed, but what's made me laugh, I suppose, in a way, is that the amount of people who are getting quite a lot of, on Twitter for example, getting quite a lot of retweets and likes for saying things like, Gutted we're not getting Griezmann, but in the modern game, isn't it great to see such loyalty to Atletico Madrid? And then it's like, retweet, yeah. I mean, a few things. One, why are we bothered about his loyalty to Atletico Madrid when we're Manchester United fans? Two, as I said last night, they've cheated. They've cheated. As I understand it, they've basically... I mean, the article I read called it child trafficking, which I think is a bit far when you actually know what child trafficking is. But it's to do with signing young players, I think, that aren't in the area that they should have and bringing them over specifically for footballing reasons. That's as I understand it. Whatever they've done, they've broken the law and they've got a ban, and that's their fault. What frustrates me about Griezmann is, even if he'd said to Atletico Madrid, I will stay with you till January when the transfer ban's over, and then I want to go to Manchester United if I'm lucky enough that they'll let me go back. And I would say no. If he'd done that, then I'd sort of say, well, yeah, I suppose it is loyalty, but what about loyalty and the verbal agreement that you had with Manchester United that's been going on for 6 months? That you decide on the last day that, effectively you phone up and say, I can't do it now, sorry, and you scupper our whole transfer plans. I mean, that's what I would say in that scenario. Why are United fans patting him on the back for his loyalty to Atletico Madrid? What about his loyalty to the deal that had been sorted out with Manchester United, the verbal agreement that everyone's on about? What about the loyalty to that? So that's one thing. But what I think completely blows that loyalty thing out of the window is this. Is if it was about loyalty and staying with Atletico Madrid for a short time while their transfer ban expires, which is in January, why the hell, within a day, are you signing a new contract? I think, and I think a lot of people have read between the lines and figured this out, this is nothing to do with loyalty. This is nothing to do with loyalty. This is to do with the things that he's been feeding out for the last few months that I've sort of ignored because I want Griezmann at Manchester United. But when you actually look at it, it all starts to fit together. I'm not sure about Manchester United because I like it sunny in Spain. Never won anything of note. His trophy cabinet is bare. Atletico Madrid did win the Liga. Griezmann wasn't there. He's played in the Champions League finals. He's not won it. He's not won any major trophies. Weak mentality, I don't know. The sun, obviously what I said there. I don't know whether I want to go to Manchester because it rains sometimes. This is your football career, mate. In 10 years' time, you'll be in your mid-30s. You'll be absolutely minted, and you can spend the next 30 years of your life sunning it up wherever you want to. This is not about staying in a warm climate, but for him it seems to be quite an important thing. And the third thing, as I said there, if you have this agreement with Manchester United and you change your mind out of loyalty to Atletico Madrid because of a transfer ban, like many of the intellectuals who I've been following on Twitter for quite a while have said, this doesn't add up. This does not add up. Why would you go down a line with Manchester United and Manchester United go down that line with you, that you're going to sign for United, you're going to be our star player, you're going to wear the number 7 shirt, you're going to be the big iconic signing of the summer, and then the transfer ban doesn't happen and he goes, no, I don't fancy that. I think Manchester United are that stupid that they've spent the last few months working on this deal, not realising or not discussing what if this ban doesn't get uplifted. Of course they've spoken to him about it, and I would imagine that he's probably said, I'll still come anyway. But so what has happened yesterday, I believe, is Atletico Madrid have chucked a load of money at him when the ban's been upheld, and they've gone, stay with us, stay in the sun, we'll give you a load more money, don't go to Manchester United. And I think he's decided, yeah, you know what, I will do that, and I'll sign the new contract as well. So he's played us, ultimately he's played us, and it's very, very disappointing. I mean, none of this is confirmed yet, I've got to say it's not confirmed yet, but you don't need a weatherman to tell you it's raining down, pissing it down. And I think my ultimate feeling about it is my passion for Antoine Griezmann, which for those who've been watching the United stand for a long time will know this was before I even thought we could get him, that I like him, has totally and utterly died because he's played Manchester United. And if you play Manchester United like that, I don't care how much I've liked you as a footballer, it's gone. I wouldn't put him in the Luis Suarez category, but it's gone. And I'm fed up of people saying, oh, you've got to respect his loyalty to Atletico Madrid. I mean, it's just naive. I would say to those people, how much do you really support Manchester United? Because what about the loyalty to Manchester United? What about the fact that we've been working on this deal for a long time and he's just completely done a U-turn and signed a new contract? It's appalling. If you're a Manchester United fan, you've got every right. Not to add on top of that, I'm sure most of you are aware, unless you've been doing an ostrich today, which isn't a bad idea, that there's a lot of stick and there's a lot of laughing at Manchester United now because of this deal, which ultimately, I don't know how you feel, it puts me on the back burner. I want to defend Manchester United and I want to defend us against all the haters and everything like that. But we are taking flack and we are looking very stupid because, I mean, I tweeted it out when we won the Europa League, welcome to Manchester, because 2 days before that, he'd said 6 out of 10. And he was. Look, I've also had people today, and I don't know what your thoughts are on this, but I've also had people today, like on the comments, saying, "Ha ha, Mark! I told you that. I've been telling you for weeks he's not going to sign." And I've replied to a few of them, and I said, "Look, if you're like me, and you knew this deal was going to happen, then well done, pat yourself on the back because you were right. If you're one of those people who've been saying for the last few weeks it's not going to happen, you've just fell into a lucky groove." Because this deal was happening until yesterday, and this transfer ban being upheld has changed his mind, and he's played us. As I say, if you think he's being loyal to Atletico Madrid while the ban's there, he wouldn't be signing a new contract. He'd be like, "I will stay with you, but next summer I want to go." He wouldn't sign a new contract, increase his release clause so whoever does buy him. Look, I want to move on. I think a lot of you are saying that, and I agree with you. I want to move on, but I did just want to cover the contract and then we'll move on from it. For me, in relation to Antoine Griezmann, unless he does a massive U-turn again and signs for Manchester United, he's dead to me. I do a career mode on my FIFA 17 career mode and it's in February and I've got Griezmann in it. I will sacrifice points not to pick him from now on. As silly as that sounds, I will, because he's just dead to me. Absolutely dead to me. You don't do that. You don't do that to Manchester United, and that's where my priority and loyalty lies. And to be honest, there's a lot of United fans who are really upset by it. I mean, I'm used to it and all that, but let's take some of your live chats. Mad Marcus says, shout out to my bestie Marcel, he beat me at FIFA. Omar Din says, thoughts on Fellaini, saying he's open to a China move. Well, I'm optimistic about that. At least there's some news today. Of course, I've mentioned Frank Kessie quite a lot on here as a good centre defensive midfield option. Eric Bay said he'd love him to come to Manchester United because they both play for the Ivorian Coast. He was quite vocal himself in January about wanting to come to Manchester United. 20-year-old centre defensive midfielder, very, very good player, gone to AC Milan. So it's another player that I wanted that we've not signed. And yeah, that's those covered. So let's bring it back to a couple of things then. First of all, we've got to talk about what Sky Sports released this morning in relation to Varane. We predicted it last night. It's so frustrating and it grinds you down really that we were talking about this last night, weren't we? About how what's going to happen now is it will be fed to the press, maybe by Manchester United, I do not know, because it's to try and make us feel a little bit more positive because a lot of people are feeling really frustrated with this transfer window now. Leak something to the press that will make United fans feel excited. But fair play, I think most United fans saw through it straight away. And if you haven't heard it, well done to you. Sky Sports news around 11 o'clock this morning. Breaking news, Manchester United are interested in Raphael Varane. And the mass reply to that was, whatever. What a total load of rubbish. As if that is going to happen. I'd love Raphael Varane to come to Manchester United, but I am not for 1 second getting excited about it. He's playing in a Champions League final. Let me just sort this light out. He's playing in a Champions League final tomorrow for Real Madrid, who are about to win back-to-back Champions Leagues, and they're winning league titles. I know he likes Mourinho, but why would Real Madrid want to get rid of him? He's well into quite a long contract. I just can't see it happening. I'd love it to happen, and if Sky Sports have guessed it, then well done, but I just can't see it happening. And that was always my fear. Now, the Griezmann thing was going to happen, and we've been played, in my opinion. But now we don't know what's going to happen, and it's a massive opportunity for people in the press to start feeding out nonsense because they know United fans want a signing, and we're just going to get silly little stories like that coming out about players that we're probably never going to sign, and it's frustrating. But I don't. I'd like Varane to sign, but I would not take anything from that. What I would take is about the Lacazette deal, as I was talking about briefly before going on about Griezmann again. And I'm going to take some of your comments, don't worry. The Lacazette thing really shocked me today because I just thought, well, where's that come from? I remember doing a United stand a couple of years ago in the summer and we were going through players that Van Gaal might sign, and that was a different Manchester United team in a different time. We were sort of trying to rebuild and Lacazette was sort of mentioned, and even then, 2 years ago, when he was like 24, we were like, well, he scored a lot of goals in France, but can he do it in the Premier League? You just don't know. I've had people today, because I said he's not good enough. Wow, Zlatan scored a lot of goals in the France. Yeah, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, who's in his mid-30s, who's scored goals in every league and is one of the world's best players. You want to compare his goal record to Lacazette playing for Lyon? And he hardly has any French caps, like I say. He's only 5'9". I've had people saying, well, Rooney's the same. And I just think, look, people just take things so literal. Like, you can compare Lacazette's height to Rooney's because that makes them the same. What I'm saying is, last season, our number 9 was Zlatan Ibrahimovic, and for his lack of pace, what I did like was his fact that he was tall and he could battle with the centre backs. I mean, Aubameyang is the obvious one because he's tall, quick, and he can finish. Lacazette, if you put him up as number 9, he's got no height, he will get bullied, and we'll go back to the days that we had before Zlatan, where the ball goes up and it doesn't stick. And the lack of pace with Zlatan's a problem, but did you see the Europa League final? The ball wasn't sticking because Rashford was getting bullied, and he's actually taller than Lacazette. So that worries me, having a small striker up front. I'd rather go for Lukaku. But I can't move away from what I've said, and it's if you want him, it's your opinion, and this is only my opinion, so don't shoot the messenger. But I have already said, and I would be criticised quite rightly if I went on here tonight and said, I'm really pleased that we've moved from Griezmann to be going after Lacazette as our number 1 target. Because I'm not. It's a massive, huge step down. To go from Griezmann, 3rd in the Ballon d'Or, recognised as one of the world's top talents, to Lacazette, who is just a decent French league striker, not had any imprint on Europe really, or national football, and nobody snapped him up. And people say he's only 26. Look at James Rodriguez. He's not. I think he's 25, coming up for 26. And look what he's done in his career. That is young, considering what he's actually done. Lacazette's not done anything. Nobody. He will have been scouted for a long time. Like I said, like Willem Carvalho for Portugal. He gets mentioned every summer, but nobody ever signs him. I would be massively concerned if we're signing Lacazette. However, I've got to try and find a positive because I know a lot of you like him. And I would say this. There is a positive. If we're signing him and we're signing Lukaku, Belotti or Aubameyang or Morata, and he's our second striker, I'm more than happy with that. I'm fine. Because as a backup striker, which I believe we need, Lacazette's perfect. I'm happy. I'm smiling. That is fine. You know what? He's worth a risk as a backup striker. Yeah, perfect. Let's sign him up. But if we're signing him as our number 9, as I go back to the start of the video where I said that Vidic and Ferdinand, Gary Neville, Patrice Evra, I forgot about him, Giggs, Scholes, Rooney, top class, world class players, and we want to replace Zlatan with Lacazette. That is where Manchester United are going wrong, and this is where you as fans who want that to happen are being mugged off, I think, because you're lowering your expectations way too low. Manchester United should be looking, oh right, this is going to be our number 9, right, it's got to be Aubameyang. Maybe take a little bit of a risk on Belotti, but he looks top class. Lukaku scored a lot of goals. Harry Kane. These Ronaldo. You know, we should be looking at the very best. And Lacazette doesn't even come in the top 10 strikers in world football for me. And if they're not in the top 10, it's not good enough. So I hope I've explained my point there. I'm not anti him. If he was a backup striker, I'd say, yeah, let's do it. But as our new number 1 target that we're all meant to get excited about, having gone from Antoine Griezmann, that is a cop-out, and I really hope United aren't going to do that. And I don't actually believe they will. I don't. I think United will make a statement now. It's going to be difficult, though, because if you've been working towards something for 6 months, and that's going to be the big sit up and look at Manchester United signing, and then it turns away from you 24 hours ago, you're like, bloody hell, everyone else has got their plans. What is our backup plan? James Rodriguez is... he's on a plate. And that might be as good as it gets. I know people are saying Bale and stuff like that, but I don't think you do a Bale deal just by turning 24 hours later and sorting that out. But maybe we can. Craig McCullough Games HD says, Giggs still thinks that Griezmann deal is not dead. I read about that, but that's an interview with Giggs that was probably yesterday, maybe this morning. And Giggs is not as close to the club as people think either. And what he's actually saying is United should rekindle their... It must be between yesterday lunchtime and today's lunchtime, because he certainly won't have had the information that Griezmann signed a new contract or about to sign one. I think Giggs was saying, look, Manchester United should go back in for him because he's good enough. which is totally right. But you can't do it if he's done what he's done. Right, okay, let's do this next bit, because I've got loads and loads to talk about. But I just want to do it's the Champions League. Can I just do one thing as well? We're very close to 96,500 subscribers. If you are new to the United Stand, it takes a couple of seconds. Bottom right hand corner, there's a hologram. Click it. Subscribe to the channel. We're a live content channel. We're live every night at 8:30, apart from Friday and a Saturday where we do it at 8 o'clock, but 8:30 every other night. 7 a.m. every morning there's a transfer show, apart from on the weekends where it'll be 11 a.m. live tomorrow. Get involved in the community, and have your say with the United Stand. So drop us a subscribe and a like if you want, that'd be great. But before I carry on, I want to talk about Lukaku, and I'm going to upset a few people about this one as well. But before I go on to that, excuse me, a little bit of a burp there. Let me go on to this. This is Fantasy Feeder. It is a fantasy football game that you can all play, and they've given us... let me just minimise that. I hope I've minimised it and not closed it. Great. Okay, it's a fantasy football game that we can all play. It's for the Champions League. The link is in the video description. It will take you to this page. You get a welcome bonus £5 bet. You don't have to deposit anything. I know we've had like betting companies doing this stuff with us before. We're trying to move away from that. We've got something really exciting for you next week, which is an app. It's nothing to do with betting. It's an app. Really, really good app, but that's next week. This is an app as well, but you can do it on your desktop. Fancy football game. You can take me on. This is the point of this. You can take me on. So click the link. You can download it on Apple, on your Android, or you can do it on your desktop like me. Click the link. Get yourself signed up. Here it goes. It takes a bit of a while. Session expired. Fantastic. Let me log in again. How am I going to do this? Okay, let me come back. Live TV and all that, but I'm going to have to go on a page that I don't want you to see. That's not the one. Right, I'm back in the room there. Okay, so while you're doing all that, let me get what I need to get from here. So basically, it's fantasy football for the Champions League. Sign up. You don't have to put any deposits in. You get a free £5 deposit, which I will show you how it works now. Click the link in the video description. It will take you to that where I was just there. Let me log on, and okay, we're back on. Let me get down here. You're going to love the Lukaku chat anyway, so hang on in there. Right. Here we are. Play now. So this will come up on your screen. Play now. Come on. Now I've already played it anyway, so I've only got £1 up in the top corner left. So what I want to do, you can see here, there's loads of different games. Champions League Final, Champions League Final, you can pay £3 ones, and basically what happens is your amount goes into the draw. So if you look at the top one, Champions League Final, £3 goes in, and there's a prize pool of £255, and obviously based on the team you pick, it's like fantasy football. I've only got £1 one, so if you want to take me on, you're going to have to play me in this top one here, this Champions League £1 one. So I'm going to enter that, enter the tournament. Oh, that one's full. Maybe they're all going to be full. Let me try this one. Tournament's full. Well, that's really useful, that is. Absolutely brilliant. But let me try this one. Tournament is full. Technical assistance required. Okay. This is Champions League one here. There we go. This one's fine. So I'm into the Champions League. Let's go back and I'll show you where that one is. So here we are. So now I've got to pick my team for the final. So there's not many to pick from because obviously it's Juventus versus Real Madrid. And I'm just going to click a random. I will change it later. But Buffon in goal, Marcelo, Beppe, Asensio, Vasquez, Mandzukic, Mariano. Now the way it works is you actually only pick 7 players. 1 goalkeeper, 2 defenders, 2 midfielders, 2 forwards. So it's very, very quick and easy to do. Once you've done that, you save your lineup. You can go up here and you can get like frequently asked questions in relation to the way the points are scored. You've got your locker room. You've got your upcoming, which is where your games will be played. So there's mine. If you go into upcoming, you can see your tournament ID ticket, when it will be, and you pick 7 players, your 2 forwards, your 2 midfielders, your 2 defenders and your goalkeeper. So if I take you back to the lobby, the game that I'm actually in is this one here, down here. It is the Champions League final £1 one. Currently there's 39 entrants, there can be a maximum of 100, so get yourself signed up for that and you will take me on. Goldbridge, can you beat me in the Champions League fantasy game? Link is in the video description. Pick yourself 7 players, you get £5 anyway, you don't need to deposit any of your own money, just sign up with your email, you've got £5, so you could enter the Champions League one that I'm in down there, the 39 of 100 one, you could enter another couple with a £5. If you do decide you like the app, you can deposit your own money into it and they will boost that by 50% as well. But really, really good game and just a little bit of fun. Thanks for Fantasy Feeder for providing that with us. And yeah, looking forward to it. Can you beat me on the Champions League? And I am going to change my team, and I did that on purpose because I don't want you to know what my team's going to be, but I won't be going with that one. So yeah, get involved, have a play, link in the video description, go down to it when we've finished, and I'll remind you that towards the end. But yes, CyberVez, you don't skip it. You don't skip it. If you don't want to play it, just wind your neck in and wait. Simple as that. Let me talk about Lukaku. Well, Ewan Gordon says, what's your prediction for tomorrow? That reminds me, something that you can actually tell me about now. Champions League, on a Saturday night, it's at 8 PM, we do I put a question up, I put a tweet up, and everyone can reply and get a shout out. We do Snapchat and we do the live comments every Saturday at 8 o'clock. But there's a Champions League final tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Do you want me to do the show at 8 o'clock or shall I do it at 10 o'clock after the Champions League final? I'm thinking after the Champions League final because I think we all just want to sit down and watch that, don't we? But it is a democracy on the United stand and I will listen to what you lot want to do. I'm not doing a watch along for Juventus versus Real Madrid. We're a Manchester United fan channel. I'm not doing watch alongs for other clubs. It's embarrassing. But there will be a show tomorrow, but I'm thinking of doing it after the game. So let me know what you think about that. Right, let me talk to you about Romelu Lukaku. There's a stat here, and I'm not a stat man, but this is quite important, and it backs up what my feelings are about Lukaku. And again, there's a few reasons why I don't want him. One, I don't think if Mourinho signs him and he signs Lacazette, I'll back either of them because I back Mourinho, and I think it's really important that there is a lot of negativity around at the moment because of the way we've conducted the transfer business. But let's just take it for what it is. We've not signed anybody yet. We don't know who we're signing. So to judge a book before you've even seen its cover, they say don't judge a book, judge a book by its cover. We haven't even seen this cover yet, and we're judging the book. Let's wait till we've got the details before. But if you add into that Griezmann's probably played us, that's not United's fault. I mean, maybe we should have got something done before the transfer ban, but what can you do? What can you do apart from a verbal agreement with the player and his agent? If he backs off from that, his word doesn't mean very much, which it makes me laugh why people are on about loyalty. But that's not United's fault either if they've been led up the garden path and then shunned. It isn't. So I would say we won the Europa League, which we've never won. We're back in the Champions League. There's a lot of things to be positive about after a very difficult season. Back Mourinho. Let's not start judging United and getting down in the dumps about a transfer window. There's not even been a ball kicked. Stick together, stay positive and stay united. And if Mourinho signs these players, we're going to have to back them. They may not be the most glamorous ones. They may not be what we think. But we're not the manager and we must back Mourinho. If he decides Lacazette's the number 9 we need, I'll have massive reservations about it. And I know we can sign better, but I'll trust him and I'll back him. If he decides that Lukaku's the man, I'll trust him and I'll back him. But I tell you what, there are a few things about Lukaku that worry me. One, why is £100 million being touted again? Is this just another money-making exercise for Raiola? Have we become Manchester United run by Mini Raiola, the agent? Because he's not worth £100 million. He's not worth £80 million. He's worth between 30, well no, 30 is a bit low. He's worth between 40 and 60 million pounds. He's only got 2 years left on his contract. He plays for Everton with all due respect. And, as I'll read this out to you now, in his last 33 games against the top 6 sides, he's scored 4 goals. 4 goals in 33 games against the top sides. Now, people are going to come out with nonsense. Well, he only plays for Everton. In a better side, he will score goals. Wake up. Wake up. Since when have Everton been like Swindon Town? Everton are a very competitive side in the Premier League that on their day can beat anybody, and they do create a lot of chances. They played us off of the park at Old Trafford for a half a few weeks ago. So this nonsense that, oh, it's because he plays for Everton. I mean, I agree. He will get a few more extra chances and opportunities, but actually, Everton, when they play teams, probably get a lot more space than Manchester United, because against Manchester United, if Lukaku comes to United, he's going to come against teams that don't play high lines, that park the bus. Very few teams will park the bus against Everton, so that's a bit of a myth that, oh, he scored goals for Everton, but he'll get way more for United. It's a myth because teams will play different, but that is quite damning, and I think it's... I thank Paul Gardner, who does the website, for that, because I said that I don't really like Lukaku because he worries me against the big teams and he never turns up against us. But 4 goals in 33 games against the top 6, I don't care what you say. I mean, I don't want Harry Kane, but I'm not talking about Harry Kane. But I'm sure his record's way, way better than that. And that would be my concern about him, is in the big games, whether it's the Champions League or the Premier League, is he going to convert? I mean, he's got the first touch of a garden wall. He has. He is fast, but it takes him a while to get going. If Mourinho wants him, I will back it 100%. But again, I've got my concerns. I'd take Lukaku over Lacazette. I certainly would. But I have my concerns about it. And I just think, look, if we've been snubbed by Antoine Griezmann, which it appears to be the case, go out and spend the money on Aubameyang. Just do it. Spend 80 million on it. He will absolutely tear this league apart. Or... I am going to jump onto this bandwagon now, even though you know I've been bigging him up for quite a while. I can't remember the first time we mentioned him. It must have been a few weeks ago now. Belotti at Torino. I really, really do like him. I've been really encouraged by some of the chats I've had with Demarcio's English-based journalist as well, who similarly to me has described him as, you know, what Gianluca Vialli used to be like. And as I say, a lot of you won't remember that. But 2-footed, quick, skillful, strong, eye for goal, all sorts of goals. Very good at defending from the front. Started his career out as a winger. He's in his early 20s. And for those, another great quote that I read from David actually today on Twitter is people were saying, how good is Belotti? Well, Gabbiadini at Southampton's done relatively well in the Premier League. He didn't have anywhere near, not even half the success Belotti's had in Serie A. So if you want to use that a gauge, there's always a risk. Of course there's a risk. But if you want Lacazette and you don't want Belotti, you're crazy. One's in Serie A playing for an unfashionable team against very good defences and scoring all sorts of goals. And one is in a French league who plays probably 3 or 4 games hard a season and the rest are against farmers. It's not a very good league. One is going to be his national superstar. The other can't really even get a game in his mid-20s. So there's a big difference. Belotti would cost a lot of money, but I would pay it. I mean, the amount we play for players doesn't really bother me because Manchester United have got loads of money and the fans put the money in, so I'm not bothered if we spend it. Rather it gets spent on players than go to the pockets of the Glazers. So I don't mind how much it costs. Yeah, he would cost a lot of money, but I think he would be. The thing that excites me about Belotti is a bit like Icardi. I think if you got them, they'd be at United for a long time. They'd become cult heroes and they'd be absolutely fantastic players for us. So I would like us to go and get him. I really would. He's the striker that excites me the most. If it's not going to be Icardi or Aubameyang, it would be Belotti. And then unless we're going to go and do something massive like Ronaldo, the rest of them I think would concern me a little bit, if I'm totally honest. Emmanuel Demis has made a contribution. He says, why don't we get a proper number 7 who can bomb down the wings and give us supply from the right wing like Ousmane Dembele of Borussia Dortmund? Well, I mean, that's a show in itself, isn't it now? We've all been pretty sure that the number 7 shirt was going to be taken by Antoine Griezmann, who wears the number 7 shirt, who loves David Beckham, whose family love Manchester United. I mean, I just can't believe he's done what he's done, but we need to park it. But who's going to wear the number 7 shirt now? We want somebody befitting of that shirt. Ultimately, Griezmann wasn't. Mentality just not right. Doesn't have that winning mentality, does he? But yeah, Belotti's had 5 goals off corners, says Tommy Herald. Well, that would be welcome. Rishi says Lukaku is perfect for the current United team. Well, actually, yeah, maybe he is perfect for the current United side. I think you're right. A team that finishes 6th and wins the Europa League. It's not really where Manchester United want to be, is it? That's my whole point. That's why I have my concerns about him. Because where I want Manchester United to be is winning titles and challenging in the Champions League. I don't think Lukaku's perfect for that at all. I think he's a risk. Why aren't we thinking about Icardi? Very, very good point. I don't know. But talking about Inter Milan, I must just mention Perisic. There's a few deals that apparently we're going to make, and they've been happening for the last 48 hours. Lindelof, although Lindelof has now come out and denied that's going to happen. I read a really good tweet this morning from somebody that said, if you believe Portuguese press that we're about to sign a Benfica player, then transfer windows really aren't for you. And that's based on many years of experience as Manchester United fans and transfer windows. Most of us will know that the Portuguese press saying that Manchester United are about to do a deal with Benfica in the next 24 hours means nothing. We've had it with Gayton for years, and he actually did go to Atletico Madrid. Lindelof it means absolutely nothing. So it could happen, but again, not thinking anything of it. Perisic seems to be going to happen, but we're going to pay 45 million sterling pounds, I think. That's too much. As I said before, 35 million's about right, 45 million's way overpriced. But I've got to be fair, I do like Perisic. I'm not going to lie and say I don't. I do like him. I saw somebody having a go at him today saying that, his chance conversion rate is 10%. He's a winger. He can score goals, but he's not a striker. He's a winger. He's a hard-working, fast, skillful, tall, aggressive winger. And I think if we get him, as much as people are moaning about it, he will be like Herrera and Bailly. He will be like that sort of a signing. He will get what Manchester United's about, and he will consistently put in 7 or 8 out of 10 performances. Yes, he's not got that Galactico edge that he can do 10 out of 10 performances, but that consistency is what you need in a team. You need 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 players of that ilk who will just be consistently 7 out of 8, 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10 every game. And you'll get that with Perisic. I like him. Fast, skillful, hard-working. He is the prototype Mourinho sort of player. And I would welcome him at Manchester United. So I think he's a good signing. What I would say is, though, and I would agree with you on this, if we just sign Perisic and Michael Keane this summer and Morata or Lacazette, I'd go, what an atrocious transfer window that is. It's worse than last summer, and we've got Champions League. It's woeful. But we're a long way from that yet. We're a long way from that, and I think we need to wind our neck in. I mean, I'm very disappointed at the moment, but I'm not disappointed really about the transfer window and our lack of activity, because it's very early days. What I am absolutely gutted about is the Griezmann thing, because I think we've been absolutely played there, and I think it's... Somebody tried to relate it to David De Gea. Well, David De Gea signed a new contract when he didn't go to Real Madrid. De Gea wanted to go to Real Madrid. The fax machine broke. He didn't decide out of loyalty to stay with Manchester United and then sign a new contract, which would have been totally muggy to Real Madrid and would have been very funny. If you're an Atletico Madrid fan now, I'm sure they're laughing their head off at us. And Griezmann's probably king of Atletico Madrid, you know. I nearly said Madrid, but obviously Real are there. But they'll be loving it. Why any Manchester United fan would want to say, oh, well done to him, loyal, well done. We're Manchester United. He's mugged us off. Absolutely mugged us off. Played us is the word I would use if he signs that new contract. But Antoine Snakeman, I'm not going to call him a snake, and I'm not going to say I didn't want him, because that's hypocritical. I really did. And he would have fitted us like a glove, and he would have been fantastic. But what I would start to agree with, if this all is true, is that the winning mentality clearly is lacking, because his trophy cabinet is bare. And this, you can't turn down the number 7 shirt at Manchester United. You can't do that, especially with his background. You just cannot do it. Scorpion1129 Gaming wants me to do a Twitter poll for the strikers. Who are we going to include in that then? Lukaku, Belotti, Lacazette, Aubameyang? Or no, it'd have to be Morata. We're linked to Morata, aren't we? And again, Morata gets a lot of bad press. I like Morata. I think he's one of those strikers that, without being sensational at anything, he's very good at everything. So he's good in the air, he's good at holding it up, he's good in the box, he's quite quick, he runs the lines quite well. He's good at everything without being sensational at a couple of things. I would welcome Morata at Manchester United, but I wouldn't welcome him if it's just going to be Morata, Griezmann and Martial. I think we need him. I'd get Morata and Belotti, or Morata and Lukaku, or B.A. Baracus, Morata and Aubameyang. I think that's what we need. 2 number 9s. That's the point. And I do sort of agree what a few people have said today, that we wanted Griezmann and Griezmann. I mean, is there anybody here who thinks that Griezmann's a striker? Because it baffles me the amount of people on social media who go, oh, now we're not getting Griezmann, let's get Lacazette to play up front. and I've questioned a few, and they've gone Griezmann's a striker. He's not a striker. He was never going to be a striker for Manchester United. He can play up front, but his best position is behind as a support striker or a number 10, or you can put him out wide, and that's where he would have played for United. And a lot of people have been saying today, the reason we're now going for 2 number 9s is because we don't really need to play with a number 10, because you can play Herrera, Pogba, Mata, Herrera, Pogba, and then new signing, and have a midfield 3 or like that, which you can do. Obviously, if you've got a number 10, you're going to have to play Pogba and one other in a midfield 3. So maybe we're not going to use a number 10. But that means we do need a couple of number 9s, and we need a winger. But just try and keep your head high. Try and keep your head high. Try not to get too down about things. And try and have a little bit of patience. I totally understand everybody's a bit gutted. And it's right, you know, it's fine to be gutted. It's fine to feel let down. It's fine to be disappointed. And it's fine to say that Griezmann's a very good player that you wished was coming to Manchester United. But it's also fine to say that I would never welcome him at Manchester United now. That's my personal view. Maybe it's biting my nose off to spite my face, but I don't want him coming to United in a year, because I think it's unforgivable what he's done now. When the time was right, when the time Manchester United needed him, he's turned his back on it. And it's not loyalty. It's not loyalty, because where was the loyalty in relation to this deal? And why are you signing a new contract if you're just going to stay with Atletico Madrid for that because they've had a ban? A contract is a long-term thing. It increases the release clause. It makes you harder to get. So, and his current contract's actually quite long anyway. I think his current contract has got another 4 years on it. The only reason we can sign him without Atletico Madrid's consent is the release clause, which is 84 million. So him signing a new contract is all about this. More money. And you can read between the lines. What's happened is he's coming to Manchester United. I'm going to Manchester United. They've got that journalist on Monday night who's very close to Atletico Madrid saying that Griezmann's actually handed the transfer request in. Everything's ticking along. Hit Thursday morning. Transfer ban upheld. Atletico Madrid crap themselves. Get on to Griezmann and say, we'll double your wages. We'll pay you 300 grand a week because we can't spend any money, so we'll spend it on you. Griezmann thinks, oh, 300 grand a week, that's a lot of money. That's basically what United were going to pay me, and I can still top up my suntan. And I've never won anything anyway before, so it's not like I'm losing anything. Yeah, I'm going to stay in a second-rate team in Madrid and never win anything. But I'll get 300 grand a week and I'll top up my suntan, and I can go over to America and bounce a few basketballs. Yeah, I'll do that. So, sod loyalty. If that's the case, and signing, yeah, I don't want him at Manchester United anymore. The love has gone, and we'll have to move on. But it's going to be very interesting. As I said last night, it will be very interesting as to what we do, how we come out of it, and the reaction that you as Manchester United fans and we will give. I mean, I joked yesterday, imagine if we sign Lukaku now and he starts missing a few chances. There's going to be... the thing is, we cannot be next season when things go wrong saying we should have got Griezmann. I don't think it's fair to throw any blame at Woodward, Manchester United or Mourinho. I think they've done all that they can legally do for this deal. They've set it up. You can't sign him anyway because the transfer window's not open, but you can get it set in place like Man City have done with Bernardo Silva. You've got your verbal agreements that most players will stand by, and clearly, for whatever reason, money in the sun, Griezmann hasn't done it. But you know, it's not dead yet, but I think it is. Thailand17 says stop being slaty about Griezmann. I got no look. I'm a Manchester United fan, pal. It's a Manchester United fan channel. If you want to, I've been critical in the past of Rooney fanboys. If you want to be fanboys of a certain player just because you're on Twitter FT and you've got @Griezmann's pants as your Twitter name, and you're just going to be loyal to Griezmann, but you're a Manchester United fan, I'm sorry, I disagree with you. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people who do agree with you, but my loyalty is to Manchester United. And when a player mugs us off and disappoints a large proportion of our fan group, then sorry, I'm United behind that. And if you turn United down, I turn my back on you. Not interested. Not interested in what you do for the rest of your career. You had the chance. You turned it down, and we'll move on and do things without you. And you mean nothing. And that's very difficult for me because Griezmann is one of my favourite players. You can go back through past videos. I can't move away from that. I can't say I suddenly think he's a crap footballer because I don't. I think he fit perfect player for United. But the love has gone. I've got no interest. And I'm sure he's really bothered by that. But for people who start coming on and saying, oh, stop being horrible about Griezmann, what would my loyalty or anyone who's feeling the same as me be to Antoine Griezmann? He doesn't play for Manchester United, he plays for Atletico Madrid. I've got no loyalty to him. Forget it. Move on, Mark. Yes. Griezmann or Aubameyang, says Oliver Carter. Well, I'm not going to lie. I'd still take Griezmann. That's the sad thing. I'd still take Griezmann. Of course I would. I'd love it to not be true. I'd love it to just all flip around then and come and sign us. We're only acting to what we think the situation is. So what can happen now, says Daz, which is very true. Yes, well, what can happen now? Tell me what happens now. We've spoken about Lacazette. We've spoken about Lukaku. I think they are quite likely. Morata keeps getting mentioned a lot. Mourinho does like Morata. He gave him his debut at Real Madrid. I like Morata and I do like Perisic. The centre-back situation is very interesting. I don't put any weight on the Varane thing. I think we've got to be very careful. We've got to be very, very careful in relation to what we take as being read and what's genuine and what's not. And it's at this time that you've got to sort of stick with the United Stand, the community on there, because you get a lot of information on there, and we'll try and stick what we can to you that is going to be good information. I mean, Di Marzio is very good. He was spot on about Griezmann 2 days before, so and he was right about everything last summer. But we're going to get a lot of things, which, to be honest, I applaud the Manchester United community, and especially the United Stand one, because you're all very switched on. You don't agree with a lot of things I say, I know, not all the time. We do disagree, but at least you've got an opinion. But as I said about the Varane thing, a lot of people just were not interested. And when Sky Sports put that out, they would be like expecting that to absolutely clickbait heaven and go viral and everything like that. And I think it was one of the top topics on Twitter. But when you actually looked at the tweets, it was basically Manchester United fans slating Sky and saying they're talking nonsense again, because we're not going to fall into these traps of interested in Varane. Of course United are interested in Varane. Of course they are. I bet they're interested in Messi and Ronaldo. Doesn't mean we're going to bloody well sign them, does it? So the centre-back position is very, very interesting. Indeed. See you, Junior. Oh no, you've got rid of him anyway. The centre-back situation is very interesting indeed, because we need to sign a centre-back. If I could offer any positivity, and you can take what I think about this, and I do believe we'll sign Fabinho. I do. I think we'll sign Fabinho, and I'll be very happy with that deal. And it would put... I hope that Manchester United can do a deal this weekend, and it's a deal that is something like that. I think Perisic, I'd be happy with it, but I don't think it's going to appease a lot of United fans. From what I read on live comments and what I read on Twitter, there's a lot of negativity towards Perisic. So us signing him for 45 million is probably just going to put petrol on the fire. If we sign somebody like Fabinho over the weekend, I think that will make people feel a hell of a lot more positive. He is a player I like. I know people will say, well, I'd rather have Bakayoko. My opinion is I like Fabinho. 22, 6'2", can play right back, centre back, but ultimately centre defensive midfielder, gets around the place. He's good on the ball. That would make me feel a lot better if we can get that deal done. And I do think we'll sign Fabinho. I think it's between us and Manchester City. But Manchester City have got Silva. They're going to get Mendy. I think we'll get Fabinho. And I would be very, very happy about that. Odianson Umbari says Rodriguez. Yes. I would take James Rodriguez. And I think James Rodriguez is the deal that could just be done like that after tomorrow night. Be interested to see if he gets any game time. But no, I do think Rodriguez could be done. I think Rodriguez and George Mendes are desperate to get him to move to Manchester United. And I think the problem is that Mourinho's not sure on him. And I think I'm not sure on him. And I think a few of you are not sure on him. I know a lot of you want him, but it's the situation we've got now. The reason I didn't want him, because I assumed we were going to get Griezmann, and obviously Mourinho did as well. Now that's gone, Rodriguez, actually, there's not a hell of a lot of difference between Griezmann and Rodriguez. Griezmann's the better player, but when you're talking about pace and movement, then there's not a lot of difference. Rodriguez has got probably one of the best left foots in world football, wand of a left foot. So I'd love us to sign him just so I can do the t-shirt. But yeah, it's I would definitely take him. Junior, you're gone, mate. We're not having any of that. Don't know where my moderators are tonight. Oh no, she's done him anyway. Beck's done him. Well done. Matuidi is linked, says Adil Khan. I do like Matuidi, but I would take Fabinho. But as long as it's not Bakayoko, I'm happy. Emre says he'd be happy if we got Fabinho. Oh, God. Power Angels, you're gone as well. I don't know why I get involved, because Beck will do it for me anyway. But, okay. I would sign Aubameyang. Well, that's a good point as well. I mean, if you missed the transfer show this morning, I was talking about alternatives, and I mentioned Bale, Alexis Sanchez, and Dybala. We won't get Dybala, but as I will always say to you, United can do anything, so don't ever say never. Alexis Sanchez, if I was Manchester United, I would be doing everything I can, because I would take Alexis Sanchez over James Rodriguez, simply because in that number 10 position, he's more like Griezmann as a support striker, whereas Rodriguez is probably a little bit more like a Juan Mata, slightly more withdrawn. Whether we could do Alexis Sanchez is very difficult, but it will always be, as I said to you a couple of months ago when we spoke about Alexis Sanchez, if Alexis Sanchez is like Robin van Persie and he wants to come to Manchester United, then we'll get the deal done. But it's all about what he wants. If he'd like to come to Manchester United, but he doesn't mind going to Bayern Munich either, then we won't get him, because Arsenal will say, well, we're only selling to Bayern Munich, and he'll go, yeah, that's fine. And I do expect him to go to Bayern Munich, and the problem is, we were probably never in for Alexis Sanchez, and there will have been things going on in that deal. We were in for, this is what I was trying to explain before, we've been putting all our eggs into this Griezmann signing quite rightly, when the player's saying, I will come to you, and that U-turn has destroyed all the work we've put into it. So now this new position for United is oh God, we've put all that work into that signing. There's probably a lot of promotional work lined up, number 7 and all that lot, killed dead, transfer plans absolutely knocked to pieces. Whether you can then pick up the phone and say we want Alexis Sanchez is problematic. One, because Sanchez will have been thinking about what he wants to do anyway, and then 2, the real elephant in the room is, well, I'm second choice. I'm clearly second choice, and that's the problem that United have got with some players now. Some won't mind and they'll go, wow, Manchester United, I'll go. But I would imagine Alexis Sanchez is good enough that he might just go, we weren't interested in me until a day ago. Bayern Munich have been offering me this, that and the other for a long time, and they've wanted me as their priority. That's the problem we face, but doesn't mean it can't happen. Mark, you say United can do anything, they just got rejected by Griezmann. There's always some literal plonker, isn't there? You know what? I'm blocking. I'm not even timing out. I'm blocking. Reese, you're blocked. You're off the United Stand live comments. Well done. Timed out by Evil. I've blocked him. Idiots. I would take Perisic over Rodriguez any day, says Chris Velvic. Ooh, God, way to get yourself done. Firas TV says shout out and chill, please. I'm very chilled. I love talking about football with you lot. I mean, this is just like what I talk to somebody at work or on the train or in the pub. This is the way I talk about football, and I'm sure many of you are the same. I'm not stressed out or anything like that. I'm disappointed, but I passionately talk about Manchester United like you lot do, and I hope none of you are taking it the wrong way that I'm sort of dismissing your opinions, because they are valid, and I'm trying to interact with them. But obviously, I'm always going to go with what my opinion is. That's the way it goes, isn't it? So Neil Jaboa Roy says we need to make a move for Bale. And Mark, where do you feel Thomas Muller would fit into this squad? Says Samuel. Nowhere. I like Muller, but he's not even on there. Samir, blocked. See you later. Tariq, blocked. See you later. It's alright, we don't give people any time of day now, so abuse will just get you blocked. It's the way to go. Pog boom, that's such a shame, getting yourself blocked. What a shame. What an absolute shame, getting yourself blocked like that. Oh well. What else? Anthony McMillan, blocked. I don't understand what people think, that they can come onto the live comments and speak such vulgar language about my family like that. You're just not going to happen. Not going to happen. I don't care. You can't do it. Onyx says, Mark, my words will be finished 6th. Oh, God. Tamimi Wooby, blocked. Oh, no, it's sorted. I'll leave it to Beck. She'll get it sorted. You've got my permission, Beck, to block that sort of behaviour. Perisic will be our next Ji-Sung Park. Big game player. This is Thomas Ashworth. Fantastic point. I wish I'd thought of that myself. You're spot on. Istal says, could we go after Aubameyang? Of course we could. Who is better, Lacazette or Griezmann? Oh God, this is the problem. This is the problem. I hope you're joking, block throwers, because this is the problem. If people are thinking that that Lacazette is anywhere near in the same category as Griezmann, it's like comparing Peter Crouch with Zlatan Ibrahimovic. They are miles apart. They are miles apart. And we're low in it. If Lacazette's coming in as a backup striker for Rashford, fair enough. But it's terrifying that Lacazette could take... I mean, I've not even covered this. He could take game time away from Rashford, who is infinitely a better player. He's just Jermaine Defoe from France. Now, if you want Jermaine Defoe playing up front for Manchester United, and some of you might want that, my stance is Manchester United should be going for better. We should be going for the best players in the world, not people who are just decent. And that's my concern about that deal. Do you think Cristiano will come to Manchester United, says Jasmine? No, I don't. See you, Pat Murphy. Bye. Blocked. And I didn't block anybody for saying we're sixth. Look, people want to know, because the United Stand is your channel. People are getting blocked for highly abusive language in relation to... I'm not even going to repeat it, but it's not on. We're here to talk about football. Lacazette is better than Griezmann, says Jake Holden. I'm sorry, Jake, I've just totally exposed you there. No one will ever take you seriously again. Lacazette is just like Rashford, but older, says Andrew Gardner. Wrong. I really want Dybala, says Millsy. YouTube. Yeah, well, we'd all like him. And what about Renato Sanchez to Manchester United, says Kaju? I think there's an element of me, and there's probably an element of you lot as well, that is just really getting a bit tired of those sort of out there sort of... I think we almost need a bit of an early night, if you know what I mean. The Griezmann thing has took out a lot out of everybody. Invested in it, really looking forward to it, and it's disappointing when it doesn't happen. It reminds me a lot of Fabregas with Moyes, Ramos with Van Gaal, where you're building and building, and they are giving the positive vibes. I can tell you for a fact, with Fabregas and Ramos, they were giving the positive vibes to Manchester United. Oh yeah, we're going to come, we're going to come, we're going to come. And then they do it. They do exactly what Griezmann's done effectively. They players, and they get new contract, and they stay where they are. And that's what has happened with Griezmann, but it normally happens amongst the transfer window when we've already signed other players. For it to happen at the start, I think it's tired a lot of people out. So when you say Renato Sanchez to Manchester United, well, there's a little bit of paper talk, but there's nothing really to go on. And I think at the moment, the only deals that I think you could categorically say there's a good chance of them happening are Perisic, Michael Keane and Fabinho. They're the three at the moment that I'm not going to say they're going to happen, but they look the most likely. Away from those three, I can say I'd like us to get Belotti or Aubameyang, and we could do it, but there's nothing really to suggest that we will. Trigio's made a contribution. He says, hi, turned up late. Do you hope we sign Lukaku? I'm scared that he does not turn up against the big teams. Keep up the good work, mate. Love from Norway. Thanks for the contribution, Trigio. I have covered Lukaku. I basically just said I've got my concerns against the big teams. Yeah, that's what my concerns are. Who do you think we could get at left back, says Harley Hunt 03. I'm hoping it'll be Luke Shaw. We're clearly not going to get Mendy, and that was the one I thought Mourinho would go for, because it's basically Valencia on the left. So maybe he's not going to sign a left back. I mean, would you be concerned if we didn't sign a left back? I actually wouldn't. We've got Luke Shaw, Darmian can play there. We don't necessarily need to sign a left back, and if we're going to sign a left back, it really probably should be either the Valencia left back, whose name escapes me, but I did a video on him before, or Mendy. I don't think there's a lot of choice out there, and I do like Luke Shaw. Maybe we'll go for Danny Rose. I don't know. We've gone over 96,500 subscribers, so thanks everybody who's subscribed whilst we've been up on here. There's nearly 3,000 of you watching, so please do drop a like on the video. We're getting a lot of trolls at the moment on the live comments because they are bitter Liverpool fans, City fans and Arsenal fans, they are very welcome. If they've got something they want to contribute, then we'll certainly engage with you, but obviously they just want to drop dislikes on the video and run away and feel like they're big men or women. But please do drop a like on the video, and if you are new, subscribe to the channel. Fantastic community of people. The comments have been fantastic in the main tonight, and I wouldn't say it's a difficult time because we're Manchester United fans and we're the envy of England. Biggest club in England, biggest budget, biggest history, and we've won more trophies than anybody else. Every right to be disappointed by what's happened over the last 24 hours, of course, but we'll bounce back. It's what United's all about, and it's only a transfer window. And what I would say, and I keep reiterating it, is stand with Mourinho and stand with the club, because it's not their fault if somebody leads you up a garden path and then gives you the finger and runs off. And that's what it's looking like that's happened. So be loyal to the club. Forget nonsense about he's loyal. That's nonsense. Be loyal to the club. Stick with your fans. Stick with the club. And let's assess what happens in 2 months' time. There's a long way to go. I'd like to see us signing a player over the weekend just to give us a boost. I'd like it to be Fabinho. It's probably more likely to be Perisic. I can see that deal being done this weekend, but we'll wait and see what happens. Vince Chapman's made a contribution. How do you feel about nearly reaching 100,000 subscribers? Well, I'll throw it to you lot. How do you all feel about it? You should all be very proud. It is, as I've always said, it is your channel. We're the only channel that has the live comments up on virtually every video. We have the Skype calls in live. Tomorrow night we'll do the Q&A, but it'll be after the Champions League final, which is probably, you know what, I didn't hear what a lot of you said, and I've probably put a poll up for those who aren't watching live to vote whether you want me to do the show at 8 o'clock tomorrow when the Champions League will be on, or after the game. But I think after the game is a good idea, because there's a few players that we might sort of want to discuss. So we'll do it afterwards. It'll all be sort of questions off the live comments box. But how do I feel about getting up to 100,000 subscribers? We progress together. I mean, there's a few of you who've been on with us since like 100 subscribers, and we just grow together. It is a fantastic community. I don't want to be a cliche and say family. I'll call us the United Stand Army, as many of you do, because you know we all share that passion and dream and vision that we want to fight for, and that's Manchester United. And it's a great community of people. You've got Beck and Evil Duck on the moderating tonight. I don't know where Mad Marcus is, but and then everyone who gets involved, and those who don't watch live, who get the comments in. I do read most of them. It's hard to reply to them all, but I do read most of them, even the nasty ones. So I prefer the nice ones. So yeah, it'd be great to get there. It could happen this month in June. It might not happen for a couple of months, but hopefully we will get there, because we've got some fantastic things planned for you. But I must just say as well, Carrick's game on Sunday, I'm really looking forward to it. 2:30 kickoff UK time. I'll give you a bit more info tomorrow, because I'll be live at 11 AM. I do the transfer show on the weekend, not at 7, at 11, and it's live. So we are going to do a watch along for the Carrick game, and I'm quite looking forward to it, because yes, some of the players are a bit old now, Scholes and Gary Neville and Phil and Giggsy, and they might not be as fit, but there's a few older players in the other side. But then there are players on the other side like Gerrard, Lampard, Terry, who've only just sort of retired, so they'll be fit. You got Rooney, you got Evra, you got Carrick, who again, players who are still playing. So I think it's going to be an interesting game. Hopefully there'll be a few tasty tackles. They've all got a few weeks off afterwards. So I'm really looking forward to it. Sell out at Old Trafford. I was going to go, but my wife's obviously about to drop any time, which obviously may impact on United Stand. I might be doing some raw ones from the hospital. Not at the business end, I'll go out. But yeah, if you're going on Sunday, great. If you're not, watch the watch along with us and watch it together. So it's nice to get a bonus watch along, because we thought we wouldn't be doing any of those till July. But yeah, fantastic, really, really great. And I don't work full time on the United Stand, as many of you know. It's a fan content channel made for the fans by the fans, and I think that's what makes it real, because the reaction is never scripted. We haven't got time to script stuff. We can't spend a day going, let's mention this bit, let's talk about that. We can't do it. We go live, we interact, and we say what we think, and that's what the United Stand's always been about. I think hopefully that's why it works, and that's why you like it. So drop us a like, as Beck says. Subscribe to the channel. Rachel Weirmans has probably made the comment of the night. She says, Mark, you seem a bit pissed off tonight. Yeah, you know, if you watch it long enough, you know what I'm like. You know I'll get a bit arsey. You know I'll get a bit stubborn about things because I have an opinion, and I accept I have been a bit stubborn and a bit moody tonight. But I do wear my heart on the sleeve in relation to Manchester United, and I can't move away from the fact that probably more than anybody, I'm really gutted about the Griezmann thing, because I'm like a broken record, but I said last summer I wanted him, and I knew we wouldn't get him. It was just like, what's your dream signing? I've been saying it for 2 years. What's your dream signing? Griezmann. And I never thought it was going to happen. But for the last 6 months, I've known it's going to happen. And the last 2 weeks especially, you knew it was going to happen. And this is why I'll argue with anybody who said, I've been saying for weeks it won't happen. You were guessing. You were guessing. Everybody who said it was going to happen knew it was going to happen. Yesterday, he just pulled the rug and he left. He's left us in the lurch. So I'm gutted on many levels, and it will take a few days to get over it. But we will do. We will do, because United always do. And that's why it's really important. And I will try and put water on the flames of, oh, United, we're just rubbish in the transfer window. Woodward's an idiot. Mourinho needs to do better. The club, again, it's way too early for that. And that's not the way we should be going. We need to back the club. We need to stick with Ed Woodward and Mourinho and trust them. And if, come August, the signings aren't very good, then we can react to it. And if we sign Lacazette or Lukaku, I'm not going to go jumping from the ceiling going, yes. I'll go, it's not the one I would have gone for, but I back the manager on it. Because I don't agree with everything that Mourinho does, like you. I don't. I think he's a great manager and he's the manager I want for Manchester United. But I don't agree with everything. I don't agree with the fact that Fosu Mensah had only played 20 minutes in the Premier League before the last game of the season. I thought that was a joke. He should have been loaned out. I don't agree with how much he's played Fellaini through the season. But virtually everything else he's been spot on with. But we'll wait and see. But I support him. I support Manchester United and I back them. And I don't want any negatives. I hate infighting and I don't want to see that. And I really do back the club because I love it. And I think we're going places. And as I would say there, I don't really want to talk about Griezmann anymore. I think he will sign the new contract and we move on. And he's had the opportunity and I hope he regrets it for the rest of his life because we wanted him, we would have worshipped him, he would have been one of the biggest players in the world. Why you'd want to turn your back on that for what is... Atletico Madrid have been very good for the last few years, but they're never going to be great. And Manchester United can be. But so yeah... That's the answer to that. Some of you have stayed to listen to that. Thanks everybody. We nearly hit 1,000 likes. Not quite tonight, but give us your thoughts below. Look, sometimes on the United stand, it won't be running along a path that you want. You'll disagree with me more than you agree with me. But that's the lovely thing about the channel, is that when things are passionate, you're going to get different opinions. And that's why we started it. Because down the pub with my mates, I'll argue about stuff. We're still mates. We're all still friends. We're all still mates. We're all still a community. We don't have to agree all the time is the point. So, see you tomorrow, 11 o'clock, transfer news. Who knows? Maybe we'll be interested in Neymar, according to Sky Sports. I am tempted to talk about Neymar, but I know it annoys people. But there was one thing though. Griezmann's a footballer. Neymar is a corporation, and that is true. If we get Neymar, there is something mercenary about it. He just seems to just chase the money and status. But there you go. Thanks everybody for watching, and I look forward to seeing you all in the morning. You don't need to thank me for all the hard work of the United stand because we enjoy doing it, and I would thank you lot, all 2,454 of you that are still here. I would thank every one of you lot because you make this very, very enjoyable and very easy with the input you put in. Even the ones you don't agree with me, as long as it's not abusive. I don't like to see that amongst the people, but we feed off what you give and we can't do it without you. So spread the word, get involved, subscribe, like, but genuinely, whether I've been a bit moody tonight or not, thank you because you make what it is. And for those who didn't like the bit in the middle, remember you can take me on at Fantasy Football. The link is in the video description. It's only for the Champions League. You don't have to deposit anything. You can win money. You've got a £5 free sort of entry fee. I'm in the £1 one. Go back and watch it. Enter your team in. It will take you 5 minutes. See if you can beat me. I bet you won't. So you've only got to pick 6 players. Goalkeeper, 2 defenders, 2 midfielders, 2 strikers. My 7 will beat you. Take me on. Bit of a laugh. And then we'll talk about it after the Champions League tomorrow. But I'm live at 11 AM tomorrow anyway. Thanks everybody for watching. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And unless something breaks tonight, which it could do, you know what? That's something in my head's just dropped there. I remember Friday nights of previous summers at about 11 o'clock something's broke. So maybe I will be back. But Fabinho I think will happen and Perisic I think will happen. And I'll be happy with both. But there must be more. There must be more. Thanks everyone for watching. You really are brilliant, and I mean that because we've had a few idiots on the comments today and it does wind me up a little bit. And when I'm going block, I know it's not a nice thing to hear, but it's not a nice thing to read. So you are all great. I appreciate it. We all, as a United stand team who are behind this, whether it's Draughty, Beck, Eva Duck, Ross, Alex, Sander, Mad Marcus, Paul, Joey, I've forgotten somebody. Ross, I've said him as well. But everybody, we do appreciate it, and we do take you as part of that team. People can say it's cringy, whatever, but it's true, and we've always been consistent about that. Thanks for watching. I'm rambling. I'll see you tomorrow at 11 AM, if not before.